And I hope Francis joins us on time. So Francis is meant to give us a presentation today. I'm going to leave it in the conversation so that anytime, okay, you are in. Dr. Francis,
hey,
you are meant to give us a presentation on, I think, regression or something.
Yes, so okay, what I wanted to do that, but I think what I will do, I'll maybe do that subsequently. So I will group it in terms of data analytics with Excel. So I will just do some other quick analysis with Excel.
All right, so I think you're in control now. Can everybody see his screen?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good. So you're in charge now. So carry on. When you are done, I will now do the parts that I wrote. So thank you.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so basically I'm just showing some quick tips using Excel. So quick Excel tips. So what we're going to be looking at is, most time when we are working, we work with tables. So we look at how we convert to tables, just quick tips. So there are things we already know, but maybe just a faster way of doing it. Okay, so let's start. So this is what we usually have. So working with Excel tables. So most times it's better you put them in tables. So rather than going through the whole process, we just press Ctrl T and that converts it to a table. And we can switch that and whatever type we have. So that's straightforward, okay? But the challenge is that most time the data may not come in this form, okay? So most time we have things like blank rows, okay? So it means we have to pick them one after the other. So delete one. So with columns is quite easy, but with the rows, we see that the data is quite large, but picking it will be quite tough. Okay, we have to pick, but assuming they are up to 100, that'll be quite difficult. Okay, so what you can do, just F5, go to special, then blanks. So what it does, you just pick all the blank rows for you automatically. So it goes down to the end, picks all the rows, then that's fine, then delete, and all blank rows have gone. Okay, so that's one. Then for example, we have the customer. So if you see the number of customers we have there, they are quite lengthy. Okay, so question, how many unique customer types do we have? If I was to create a report for each of the customers, so how many customers do I have? Okay, so one way to check that, I can easily just check, oh, unique customer type. So I remove the duplicates. Okay, so if I want to remove the duplicates, I come to my data, remove duplicates. Okay, so I have 793 unique customers. Okay, so if I was to create a table, a report for them, most time we use a pivot table to do that. Okay, so let me just take this to a new sheet so that we can work with it. I don't know if this sheet, you will see this sheet there. Okay, let me just work on this sheet as it is. Okay, so most time we want to create our pivot tables. Okay, so we already know how to create pivot table. All right, so this is how you, so best practice, most time it's better you always label your table. So let me call it maybe customers. Okay, customers, that's fine. So insert pivot table. So that's my customers. Okay, all right, so that's what we can see there. So I want to create a table showing my, maybe let me pick what I have. Okay, let's assume my categories, my segments. Okay, so let's get it. So here what I can do, I can come to my options. So let me go to the native way that we see our pivot table. Okay, display, so classic pivot table. All right, so this is how the structure of the table will come out. Most times if you are not sure whether to put it on rows or columns, so it's better you go through that route. Okay, so for instance, my category, let me see if I have okay, I have categories here, so that's fine. So I want to see my categories here. Okay, so maybe I want to see my segments. So let me see my segments. Okay, then I want to see my sales. So on this part I'll put the value. So for example, I want to put my sales there. All right, now what we can also do, if I want to see it over a period of time, so maybe in my annual sales, So I can come to my dates and just dump my dates there. Okay, but you see it gives you the full date, so it gives you in terms of daily. So I can group it. So if I come to my date, I click on any of my dates, I right click and click on group. Okay, so it's already arranged by month, so I want to see it in years, so I just click on years, so I uncheck that. So it's already in years. Okay, so maybe I can just play with the table structure. Maybe I type revenue here, maybe I have my total here. Okay, maybe I have my total here. Okay, then short way of maybe make your table look more structured, maybe putting currency and maybe as accountant or reporter you're making your report. So Ctrl+Shift+4 automatically it will arrange my table this way. Okay, now the point is that I want to, because we already know how to do most of these things, but when we want to create reports, so for example I want to create reports for my customers, so maybe I take my customer name, I dump it there. Okay, and I've seen I have over maybe 700 customers. So if I want to see one customer, so what I will simply do, I will just check one, and so that is his report. Okay, so that's his report. But this is not what I want to do. I want to create a report for each of the customer. For each of the customers. So maybe I can just edit my table. So you already have your table design. So maybe I put the bands there, make it look more. Okay, so for example, so this is structure, but I want to create this for my 700 customers. So how can we do that? So there's a quick trick you can do here. Okay, so what I can do, I can come to my analyze. Okay, don't click on your option, come to the drop down. Okay, so can you see show report filter pages? Okay, so customer name is already there, so click OK. So this is where the magic happens. So it's going to create about 700 reports for each of the customers. But please take note, if your system is not strong enough, well, your Excel can crash. But otherwise, it's going to create all the reports for you at a go. So let's just wait a little bit. And just chill a little bit. So because we are creating 700 reports. Okay, so otherwise if your memory cannot take it, it may crash. So let's just chill. Okay, almost done. Maybe I would have used a shorter, maybe data for this, but let's see. Yeah, it's done now. It's done now.
Okay, it's done. Okay.
Done. So these are our reports we have created for each of them. So if we scroll all down, so if what you were trying to pick for each of them, so it has created for everybody. So that's the report for everybody. So it's best I would have just taken it to a new place to just create that report. So that's how to do your reports with. So let me look for. So we have seen how to create the reports. Okay, remove duplicates, that's fine. So another thing again we can do, so we have Excel translator. So sometimes you may have reports working in different branches or units. So maybe you don't understand French, okay, but this data set was sent in French or whatever, okay. So you can easily translate that. So just highlight the text you really need to do to work with, then translate. and it translates it for you there. So whatever language you want, so if it is French, I'll come down to maybe French, and that's in French, or whatever language you want to work with, okay? German, so that's the interpret. Another thing again we can do, so when working with data, sometimes we may need help to confirm whether the values are the same, okay? So we have a paper we are confirming, okay? But most times once the data is wrong, whatever decision you are going to make based on that data will also be wrong. So most times we want to confirm if the values are correct, okay? But we need a partner to help us to confirm it, okay? So he will be reading it for us, he'll be reading it for you while you are checking, okay? But well, Excel has also helped you to do that. So rather than having somebody to do that, so Excel can speak for you. So you can just highlight what you want to hear, then click on that.
Area.
And
778.
Okay, correct.
Adamawa.
Yes.
918.
Good.
Aquaribon.
Good.
877.
All right.
Alhambra.
Yes.
170.
That's fine.
Borki.
Hey, Bauchi.
872.
Good. All right. So that you get the point.
Bayosa.
So that's Speak Cell. So you can easily go to your quick access, then look for your quick Speak Cell and dump that. So that's what you can do. Okay. So another thing we can also look at. So most time what we work with is transpose. So for example, we have 1 to maybe 26 here. Okay. So we have maybe 1 to 26 there. Okay. So it was written on the row, but I need it in the column, okay? So most time what we know how to do is to transpose, okay? So transpose, right click, then you transpose. So this is what we normally do, okay? But sometimes if we have maybe Z to A, but what I wanted was A to Z, okay? A to Z. So do I have to go and start typing A, B, C, D, E to Z? So assuming I had up to 100 data sets like that, okay? So would that work for us? No. So what we can simply do, you can just simply use the numbers. So just highlight with the numbers, right click. So we sort largest to smallest and it takes it for you automatically, okay? So the same way with the names. So for example, I want to invert this. So it started with Stephen, but meanwhile, what I needed was from Claire, Darren, and the rest, okay? So what I can do, 1, 2, okay? Can just take that. Click, like that. So just right click, sort. So sort largest to smallest, and it inverts that for you. Okay, so that's one quick tip. So another aspect again you can work with is Flashfield, very powerful tool. So for example, like HR guys, so for example, these are new employees, so they want to create an email address. So what they normally do, say they take your first name, full stop, your surname, got here at maybe office hour.com. So this is the first one we have created. So we want to create for the remaining. So what we simply do, highlight that, Control E and flash fill. It does everything for you. So if you have up to 100, so it will fill that immediately for you. Okay. So the same way. So for example, if I have product ID, I just want to pick only the ID. Only the ID. So for example, I pick, so how many do we have here? So we have quite a lot, up to 9,000, okay? So what I can do, I can pick, I just want to pick only the ID. So 1,01798, okay? So if that's just the number I want to pick, then I want to pick the whole data there, okay? So I pick that, flash fill, Control E, and it will fill that for you. So it picks everything for you. If you want to confirm, for example, I need to pick maybe the middle value, so BO. Same way, maybe I just put my 0 there so I can pick it up. So I pick that, Control E, and it just picks the values for you there. Okay. Now another aspect again. So sometimes we may want to drag down. So what we do, 1, 2, and we drag down to whatever number we have. Okay. So assuming we want to drag down up to maybe like 500, okay? So most time dragging down may take longer time. So what you can do, you can simply use your series, okay? So for example, I want to pick 1 to 500, okay? So I'd have dragged down 1 to 500. So what I can do here, I can come to my series, okay? So you have your home, so your fill series. So come to series. So I need 1 to 500, 1 to 500, okay? And it's on the column, okay? Column, okay, that's all. So I've picked that. So 1 to 500, so that's that, okay? Then another aspect again we can look at. So most time when we work with sheets, so one practice we should try to avoid is avoid hiding sheets, okay? But most time we realize that the Excel files you work with, people still hide one sheet or another. So in case the sheet is hidden, okay, and you are not sure where it is hidden, so what you can simply do, just click here where to highlight the whole sheet, then right click and unhide sheets, and wow, the whole sheets come out, okay? But sometimes hiding the sheets like this or the columns, this is just one way of hiding it. Another way of hiding your columns is using a white text and it's hidden, okay? So what you can also do, if you are not sure, so highlight everything and switch your font size to black. Okay, so that's another way you can hide your sheets and hide them. Okay, so that's another way, quick tip. So customize field. So most time what we have is that we know that Excel is quite smart. Okay, so when we have Monday, next we know it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay, but sometimes you may also want to have your own custom field in this way. So for example, states, Nigerian states. So if I have states, okay, I want to type Abia. So I want you to give me all the states. Okay, but you see, it's not done there. So by default, it doesn't recognize Nigerian states. So I want to create Nigerian states. Okay, so to create Nigerian states, what I can do, I already have my list there. So I can just highlight my list, then go to my file, go to my options, advanced, then scroll down close to the end. Then you see custom, edit custom lists, okay? Then I have that import, and okay, that's fine. And I'm done. So I have states, so Abia. So after Abia, what states do we have next? So scroll down and I have all Nigerian states there. Okay, so another quick way to do this, so mixed references, sometimes what we are familiar with is the absolute reference, okay, where we fix a reference, but by default we know. Hello?
Yes, you carry on. Yes, we hear you clearly.
Okay, you hear me? Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So by default, Excel deals with relative reference, okay, so if I have equals to 1 times 1, okay, so when we drag this relative reference, so it just picks the whole stuff, okay. So as a simple task like a 4-figure table, okay, or a times table, okay, I need to have 1 times 1, okay, and run that, so that when I drag to the end here I should have 10, okay, but in this case it keeps moving, so that's what we refer to as what, a relative reference, okay. But if I decide to hold both sides, hold both sides, what we do is F4. So F4 helps you to what, hold your to hold the cells, okay. So if I run that, it's going to fix everything for me together. So what I want to do, I want to hold the rows and hold the columns, so equal to 1 times 1. Okay, so for my row, I want to hold 2. So I press F4, F4 again. So it shows $2, which means hold the row 2. And if I come to 1, I want to hold column B. So press F4 once, F4 again, and F4 again. That's all. Okay, so instead of me dragging with my mouse, so what we can do, you highlight where you want to analyze, Control R, we pick to the end. Then if I want to go down, Control D, we pick down. Okay, so that's another quick tip. Then another quick tip again. So when we have data sets like this, most time we may want to analyze them. So in Excel, we have what they call quick analysis. So you can press Control Q. Okay, that's quick analysis. So what do I want to do? I can look at the bars. Okay, if that's not what you want. Okay, so Control Q again. Or again, what you can also do, okay, that's fine. What you can also do, you see the bar here. So so quick analysis. So you can also click that. So whatever you want to do, add table. So if I can also create tables straight from there, rather than me going through the menu route. Okay, I can go through that route. Then again, sorry. And again, I can also, maybe for example, spark lines. So I can also create spark lines, okay, whatever spark lines I want, and to create the spark lines for me. Now, why it's quite slow? Because I opened that, the number of pages, which is quite large. So it's going to take some time to pick them, okay? So, but that's how you do your normal quick analysis, okay? And again, if we want to pick, not responding, okay, so we're just taking time to load that for me, okay? Then if you want to arrange, so for example, I want to put in my my currency. So what you can do, Ctrl+Shift+4, and that will pick everything for me, okay? So the same thing with your charts, your graphs, you don't really have to go through your menu. So your Ctrl+Q will do everything for you. So if you need your charts, whatever chart you want to create, it creates them automatically for you. Okay, that's one. Then maybe let me go to the last one, okay? So people chart. So most time when you want to plot chart, maybe for example you have customers, okay? So for example, these are our staff that brought in customers. So how many clients have they engaged, okay? So rather than plotting with your normal bar charts and your pie chart or your donut charts, what you can simply do, you can use what they call people's charts, okay? So if you come to your inserts and you go to your add-ins, you see your people's charts there. So you just search for people's charts. Okay, so if I type people chart, so if I select that, so that's the people chart. So you just add that. So I already have it here already. So that's the people's charts. Okay, so I can bring that here. So people's chart, what do I want to see? Okay, I want to see, so let me select my data. So let me title it. So for example, number of clients engaged, number of clients engaged. Okay, so select your data. So this is my data. Create. All right, so that's clients engaged. So in terms of the number, okay. Again, I can also format it. So maybe for example, want it that way, shapes. Okay, that's fine. That shape is okay. Then again, so that's one. Maybe for example, based on their engagement, I ask my clients to rate them, and these are the ratings that they have. Again, I can also highlight them. So I just simply come people's charts, select your data. So for example, let me switch the names. Let's say staff rating, staff rating. Staff rating, okay? So based on your staff rating, select your data, create, okay? Now, but this is not staff rating. So for ratings, you need maybe it's 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, okay? So again, you can come to your shapes, switch your shape to star, okay? Then the teams, so maybe I switch the teams this way, so that's fine. Then if I want to make it look like a proper report, then for example, I can switch my style. Maybe I switch here to maybe white text and switch my whole chart maybe to black. So sorry, let me change that to white so we can see everything there clearly. Sorry. Okay, if you can't see that. So what I want to show you guys. So for example, if I switch here to 10, so automatically, if I change it to maybe a 3.5 star, you can see a 3.5 star. So you can actually link your reports to this. So you can have the data somewhere else, and this can be like your dashboard. Okay. So lastly, so for maps, okay, let me just show for maps. So normally we can also have your bar chart, pie chart for maps, okay, but you can also have normal maps. But the only difference now is that in Nigeria, instead of you having Abuja written here, so it's better you turn it to Federal Capital Territory because that's how the map recognizes it. So if I highlight my maps, insert, so go to your maps, okay, switch your map, and that's it. Then if you want to add different stuff, you can add your labels. So for example, if I want to add the states, so what I can do, I can switch here to more options, category name, okay? Then switch your comma and on a new line, okay? So I can increase my chart size and that, so I can have revenue by states, revenue, sorry, let me check that, revenue by states. Okay, and again, you can, the same way you plot your chart, you can also adjust that and fill whatever you want, okay? Okay, so that's it. Okay, let me show you 3D maps, 3D charts. Now this, most time we have what they call shapes, okay? And when we have our normal shapes, so this is kind of shapes that we work with, okay, shapes, okay, that's fine. But again, we can also have more elegant shapes. So we come to 3D models, okay, we come to 3D models. So for example, you want to have an item, okay, maybe you are into sales of maybe parts, okay, so maybe gadgets, okay. So I can bring in my 3D shapes, okay, I can bring that shape, I can bring this in, I can bring, let's see what I can bring. So bring a laptop in. So let's insert that, okay. So depends again how fast your system is. Again, this also takes time to also import. So you try and bring them either one by one or just take them gradually. Otherwise, it will take time to import them also. Okay, so I'll just show you where the difference between this and your normal shapes. So then bring in the last one. Then take note again, when you bring in these shapes, okay, the file of your Excel will also get quite large. So also you have to be careful with that. So let me try and bring them out. So because I imported them one by one, so let me see, bring that out. Let me bring the other ones out. Okay, so this is what differentiates the shapes. So with the shapes, you can easily turn them around and whatever you want to do there. And again, this one you can also, apart from your normal designs, you can also use them to do reports and whatever you want to. So you can also create a small report based on this. You can put your product here, you can also put the price there, and you can also rotate that. All right, so I think that's the quick tips I have to do. Thank you very much.
Wow, awesome. So a big thank you. And please, everybody in the house, if you can, let's give a round of applause to Francis, Dr. Francis Okoye, for this demonstration. It's value packed. Thank you very much. Yeah. A lot of people are like, fast, but I get it. Maybe you wanted to work within the time. Maybe if you had told us last week, we would have just given you the whole hour. I'm thinking, as usual, it was last week that we all discussed this, that we can always present. All the presentation need not come from me, the host. You know, some of the things he has shared today, some I know, some I don't even know before now. And then the other thing are the ones that I even know, now I'm able to, get up some ideas of, I think I should be using this thing more. So without wasting much more time, I want to also say, is there anybody who wants to present next week before I go to the aspect that I had planned already for today? So anybody who wants to throw his hands up and volunteer for taking us through something to next week. Any volunteer? Going one. Mr. Azan, you said you are going to be ready this weekend, this Sunday. Mr. Azan, Mr. Cyril, who else were those who we asked to volunteer? Who we told to prepare a topic? Okay, all right. So I noticed that some of you will probably be expecting that. What about the things we said we were going to cover in the email I sent out, in the announcement I sent out? So I'm going to cover that right now. Francis has done his session. Maybe I should rename it to tips.
Excel quick tips, yes.
Tips. Okay. So I will walk us through the amazing sum products, index formulas, sum if, count if, and wherever we get to by 5 o'clock, we stop. We can always continue again next week. Okay, so for those of you who felt that his presentation was fast, I didn't want to interrupt him because I know that he had planned and he was trying to work within the time that we had allocated. So maybe in the future, I will see if we can have a session that it will just be him and maybe this and any other thing he wants to share, but at a slower pace.
Because yes, because it's a presentation. So if I take time, like if you try to explain what's happening, it takes longer time. And I had to show a lot. So maybe subsequently, yeah.
So what I told them is that it's being recorded. So maybe I will try my best to produce.
But again, I can share the file. I also share the file just in case you.
Oh, great. Okay, maybe if you email me the file, I will now put it up for everybody. So for everyone to be able to get emails directly from me about all of these sessions, is it's preferable you sign up here. So if you join the Meetup community, join the Meetup community. That way you will get even reminders for the event. So those of you who feel the reminders are too short or like you only get to hear about it on the day, this one even automates it for me. It sends you reminder early enough, like a week before the class, and also all these postings of feed of my resources. It's via this that I send it out. So once Dr. Francis emails me the file, then that will be the way I will send it out instead of me trying to get your email one by one. Okay, so I'm going to also try and match him in the speed race. I already have the file. Last week we did if, and it's funny, we ended up using all the time on if. We did ifs.
Yeah, so that's what I was trying to avoid.
We did switch, and we couldn't continue the other ones. So today I learned from that. I didn't put too much. I said I'm just going to do some products, and with the way it is, and you know me, I kind of take forever to pass along my points. God help me if I will even be able to finish the sum product. But the good thing is, all of it is not going to end today. We can always continue from wherever I end today. Okay, so sum product is a formula in Excel that you can break down to sum of products, right? So technically that's what it does, and maybe that's why it's given that name. And so if you look at this portion of my Excel, imagine that you run a grocery store and these are the individual prices and these are the quantities you've sold of all these products, and you are just interested in the total sales, right? Instead of you doing one by one computation of the product sales, so instead of you calculating sales for these and calculating for each of the products separately and doing auto sum, I'm doing sum to get the final figure. Without doing all these intermediary steps, you can directly go to sum products and say product of price, comma, quantity. So it works with arrays. So if you look at my screen, let me just zoom, you will see that it's asking array 1, array 2. So you can pass in those things you want to do the product of. So it will be doing the product of each different, for each different item, price times quantity, and then at the end, sum the output, and you will get the final value. So you'll be like, okay, this is cool, awesome, but this is not enough to qualify some product as amazing. So there is the other aspect of it that makes me to say it's an amazing formula. So I'm going to reduce my zoom, and then we're going to work on a task that is like this. Okay, and imagine that you have a situation like this where you want to be able to specify people. So you want to be able to say, put someone's name, sales people, put someone, whoever it is you want to get the figures for, put a product, again, whatever product it is you want to get the figures for, Then this is where the things really become a bit more complex for the usual formulas that we think of. You have months, and the months are arranged horizontally, they are not arranged vertically. So if you try to do some if, which is what a lot of us think of when we have a situation like this, you're like, oh, it's easy, straightforward. Is it just to say, so let me zoom, is it not to say, okay, I want to sum ifs, and the sum range, since we are doing for what? We're doing for March. Okay, cool. March. In fact, select the entire column. So I select the entire column for March. And then you're like, okay, what's the next thing? The next thing is the criteria range. Okay, criteria number one is salesperson, it should be John. All right, criteria range, salesperson. And then you go back and you're like, okay, next, the criteria I'm looking for in that criteria range of salesperson, I'm looking for John, right? So you specify the criteria, and then you say, okay, for product, I'm also going to pick the product range for criteria range for product, and then I'm saying where the product is equal to, so criteria, where the product is Dettol, and that's the end of the two criteria that I'm passing into my sum if. I've already told it to go and add up the match values, right? So match values. So this is what people think of. But the problem is that if I change the month to June, this approach is not going to capture that change. If you look at it, it's still doing March. So you will have to manually, adjust your formula to do for June, right? So this is no longer what a formula should be doing, where you have to change it every time there is a change in something that is going to be changing in your template, right? So this is where some product shines. Some product lets you capture, both horizontal, the normal vertical that a lot of tools let you do, and horizontal criteria range. So our sum if count if only works with horizontal criteria range, but with some product I can work with vertical criteria range. So let us see how it works. So the pattern for some product is a bit different from how we used it when we were doing this very simplified sum of the product of price and quantity. For this one, you're using it in a kind of a conditional aggregation way. So typically there is more than one way, but the easiest to explain is just you doing a bracket for every single condition, every single criteria you want to take cognizance of. So I'm interested in ensuring that the salesperson is equal to John. So what did I do? I start with a bracket for that, and I go. So importantly, you start from the first salesperson. Essentially, do not include the header. Okay, so I'm going to start from the first salesperson all the way down, and I'm going to say where, all the salesperson, where they are equal to the one I'm interested in, where they are equal to John that I'm interested in. I close off the bracket and say that is condition number one. I'm going to say it should multiply it by, then condition number two is for the product, right? So I'm going to say from the first product up until the last product where I have the product equal to the one I'm interested in. So where it's equal to Dettol, right? And then I close off that one. Then I put in the other condition relating to months, right? So I say where the month. So you see, this is what makes it more flexible in this case than the sum if that I showed before. I can be able to say where the month are equal to the month I'm interested in. Okay. And when you are now done with capturing all of your conditions, just like when we were doing sum if, we still have to go and provide where the eventual figures you want to sum up to are located. So in this case, again, everything you put it in their own brackets, at least to help you with not making mistake and conceptualizing all the steps. So right now, I select that these are all the figures that I want you to now go and sum up the ones that meet all those conditions that I've earlier supplied. So I had the figures, in its own brackets. And this is it. So again, the method is I make sure that I put my conditions. So Something has gone wrong with my screen. Okay. Okay, it's back. All right. So I make sure that condition 1, condition 2, condition 3, since those are the conditions I have, right? And then finally the data that you want to grab, right? So that's the pattern. Once you remember this, you can use it for as many conditions as you have. Okay, so I'm going to press enter anyway. So I'm going to press enter. Because of the zooming I'm doing, it's used to reset my graphics stuff. So it will come up now. Okay, good. So I'm going to press enter. Enter. Okay, so you'll see that now it's done it, right? It's done what? So that is some product. That is what I say is amazing about it. The fact that you can use it as a replacement for sum if, as a replacement even for count if, as a replacement for most of all these are conditional aggregator. You can use it as a replacement for them, and in addition, it captures both vertical and horizontal criteria, vertical plus horizontal. So I'm going to move to index now, horizontal criteria. So I'm moving now to index formula. Okay. So since we are getting familiar with this data set, let me not use something else. Let's just use this again. So index is a formula that allows you to say, okay, I have a table. It should get for me what is in row X and what is in column, maybe column Y, right? So you can supply the row and the table address. So I can say I want what is here. So if I say I want what is here, that will be me saying that it should do index this entire table, and then let me just put all of us on it. Okay, so and then I'm saying you should get me what is on column, row first before the column anyway. So if you look at this row that this is on row 1, 2, 3. So that means I'm picking row 3. And then if you look at it, the column it's on is column 1, 2 in the table selected. So that is column 2, right? And voila, it gets it for us. So those of you who already use index and match, you are familiar with this concept, right? But I'm not going to talk about index and match. I want to talk about index in itself and what makes it amazing. So this is it. You specify the table and you specify the row number and the column number, and to get you what is at those row and column, at that row and column intersection in your table. The other thing about it, which makes it really amazing, is the fact that you can also use it on an array. So not necessarily a table. Array is like a one-dimensional table, so more like maybe one column range of figures or one row range of figures. So when you use it with an array, all you have to provide is the position of what you want, right? So imagine that I am interested in just this array. Let me copy it out so that you understand that it is an array in this case. Now, the moment that I have something that is just one, either it's just one column or it's one row, then that's what, when you look at Excel and it asks for array, that's what it refers to as an array. So in this case, if I want this record, Taiwo, right? Taiwo is in position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in that array. All I do is index, I select the array, and then I do position 5. So that's what I mean by position. And likewise, if what your array is horizontally arranged, similar pattern. If I want what is here, right, all I need to do is, again, index, and then I select the entire array, and I say I want what is 1, 2, 3, 4, position 4. Okay, so these are the two general ways you use them. You use these, use it for a table, use it for an array. There's a third one which I'm not going to talk about. So now I want to focus on this part. This is where the magic I want to talk about lies, at least for today's demonstration. So we all are aware of this in Excel, the fact that I can say your name, last name, and then I ask for your department. Then maybe somewhere I have the list of departments. So HR, finance, operations, and marketing. Okay, and then what do we usually do if you want to do data validation? You come in over here and say, okay, I want it such that all these people, when they are filling this stuff, I want them to be able to pick the department. I don't want them to just like type any department for me. And we go to data validation, and I go to lists. So list allows me to say, I want to give you a list of options to pick from, right? Okay, so this by itself is awesome. The fact that the user can come here and pick a department, and voila. Now the issue is that what if as time goes on we had new departments? This thing is dynamic. It's a dynamic list. It keeps shrinking and expanding. So we had a new department, maybe called I don't know, maybe we have a security department. Okay, and the issue is that with this approach that I've done, it will never come in here, right? So let's see how we can use the index that we already know. I know that security department means from here to here, right? No longer from here to here if I needed to include the security. So I need a formula that can always be dynamic enough to know that it should get me the last record, and that's where we can use the index in its array format. So I can use the index in its array format of well, I select all of these going as far down as I feel the list can ever get to, right? And then I say it should get for me what is in the last position, which last position will be, you know, count all, which is counter, count all of the records that I have. So if I have 5 records, then that means the 5th record is the last record, right? And this will get me, maybe brackets are okay. This will get me what I'm looking for, right? So this will always get, if you increase the zoom, if you reduce the zoom, it will always get exactly what you are looking for. So this, unfortunately, because of time on my screen, I'm just going to copy the formula as it is here, and then go back to that data validation and say, instead of typing this one that locks the entire thing to just that place, I'm going to type this one that gives me the flexibility of tracking how many records have been typed in there. So again, just so that you see the formula, the magic is in that index can get us like an address instead of just an answer. It can say, oh, the last record is in address F74, and this becomes what did I do wrong? Okay, so can type for us. Sorry, I've knocked off the minus, the equal to sign. Anyway, a neater way would be even to put it in a data, in a named range. So if I go to formulas and then I go to the name manager, I can even say list of departments. So departments, that is even a much neater way to do it. So I just plug that in there, and then it's always good you make it absolute. I will tell us the reason later on. Let me redo that name, departments, and I put this here, do okay, and oh, no wonder the thing kept, okay, yeah, it's correct. I make this absolute, I make this absolute, make this absolute, make this absolute, I make this absolute. I now see why it was complaining. I did something wrong the other time. This is also 69 to 82. All right, so I just make it absolute. That's the only difference. I copy and paste it there, and then in the data table, in the data menu, data validation, I can use that. I can say this is equal to department, and from this moment onwards, it will always be expanding and contracting along with the data. Okay, so every time I come here, I will see it in here. Again, the key thing is the fact that in index, you can mix it up with an address. You can mix index up with an address. So instead of you specifying just the last address, you can say that index should be the one to give us the last address. So this, I found it very useful even in creating dynamic charts where as you add new data, the chart will be expanding and it will be capturing the new data you have added. So this is one of those things about index that makes it amazing. The fact that it can give you back like a cell address. So it can give me back, you know, just what let me just type it again, what I typed before. You know, I provide in this range of possible lists, you know, just get me the last list. If I know that the last is 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I know that the last is 7, great. I put that position number 7, right? And it works. If I know that the list is going to be dynamic, meaning that I don't know what the last will be, I can plug in a formula to get for me what the last will be. So that formula is what I just did, count of all the records that I can ever, you know, all the records that I have in that same range. So if I have 7 records, then the 7th one is the last one. So that's how I get to lock it to a position. So this is the thing that makes index amazing. This is among them anyway, right? So I've used up the time. In fact, my computer is even acting weird right now that I think I'll even have to restart it. So any questions? Again, the video recording is going to be put up in that YouTube channel. So I've posted the channel in the conversation in the chat box. Similarly, the recording and any future announcements will be sent out to us if you join the meetup community. So I've posted that link also, and you always keep getting reminders and whatever important information and resources people shared during the presentation. So any question on my side on what Dr. Francis has shared before we close the curtain, before we wrap it up? Okay, but you're okay with at least the index, even with the glitches I have encountered in demo int, at least you're okay with the way it works, and then this approach of using it to get out an address, a cell address. So that is it, and thank you very, very much. Let me go back to the entire team screen, make this in Zoom, and let me go to conversation. Okay, so thank you very much. See you again next week. And anybody wanting to volunteer as a presenter next week, I'm going to call up people's names. Mr. Azan, where are you? You said that we should ask you this week. Mr. Cyril, who else? Even Mr. Sineme is not on this call today, so that is his own. That is his saving grace. Anybody wants to share something interesting? Yeah, Mr. Samuel, yeah, go on. Are you going to want to share something with us next week?
Sorry, I just joined late now. Sorry.
It doesn't matter even if you joined us late.
I want to ask the
Okay.
recording of this meetup. Is it going to be made available on the YouTube channel?
Yes, it will. It will. It will be on the YouTube channel. And if you join the meetup community, it will also be, you will get, maybe I will send an email this week. So everybody on the YouTube, on the meetup channel, they will even get an email that will say, okay, this week, this is the link to getting the video. And then, but if you go to the YouTube channel, once I post it, you will see it. But if you want to wait for, if you want to benefit from getting an email, then you need to join the meetup community. So I'm going to post the meetup community link also too. So if you join that meetup community link, you will always get the emails and notifications of future events.
Thank you very much.
So we don't have any volunteer for next week. Okay.
Unless you want me to do what I want to present, the data analytics part, then I can do it for next week.
Okay, good. All right then. So we'll have Dr. Francis next week. How many minutes do you need for that? Do you want to use the whole 1 hour?
No, I'll just take a short part there, but I'll take not so long. Just how to run and interpret, that's all.
Well, so that people like today's zone, some people
then
said they wanted it shorter.
Okay, so then that's fine. So I can just do statistics with Excel.
Okay, so we'll call it statistics with Excel. So you will take the whole 1 hour then, so that way you can go slower.
Right. Okay,
they can ask questions.
That's fine.
Okay,
that's fine.
good.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much. See you all next week.
Right.
Have a nice Sunday.
All right. Bye.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Michael, for the wonderful presentation.
Very much.